What's going on, everybody? I am the one, the only, the W-O-O-K-I-E, joined here by the normal cast of misfits. We have Dr. Sheep.
Hello.
We have the Ewokiest of Ewoks and the new tribal chief of Keyforge, Ewok Jr.
Hello, Keyforge community. Glad to be back. A phenomenal experience, and I'm super excited to talk about it.
And we got the choke show himself, Dresper.
Hey, guys. How's it going? Also, had a phenomenal time.
Still choking, but at least this time he was awarded for his choking.
Well, there is truth to this, which we can get into.
At least there was prizes for his choking this time.
Yes. I choked my way into prizing. So that was great.
But the Roseville Vault Tour had... Oh, I forgot to introduce the newest member of our cast, Cardboard Dr. Sheep.
Hello, I'm here.
That's not what he sounds like.
Yeah.
We'll
he
give
just
you
goes, grumble, grumble, grumble.
grumble, rabble, angry.
Grumble.
He talks like a Pokemon. But we'll get into all
Cardboard Sheep was kind of fun and happy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I tell you,
weird.
it
He
was
in
the
a really
best
good mood.
cheap experience I've had in a long time.
That joke never got old. The fact that we're like, you know what? Cardboard Sheep's way more fun than regular sheep.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys also get into bed with Cardboard Sheep?
A little bit. I snuggled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
nuzzled
not.
him.
It was a good time.
If
you
Cardboard
walk-
Sheep Honey has any holes in him, we're fighting.
What?
Just in the back.
Yeah. Well, Cardboard Sheep tried to register for sealed. We were told that cardboard people are... See, I had the idea, so we take Cardboard Sheep, right? And I mount my phone to him, and Sheep could just play via FaceTime.
Ah.
Right? So
Yeah, I feel like we should tell people who aren't quite figuring out what we're talking about, like what we're talking about.
So for the Vault Tour, yeah, okay, that's probably a good idea. For the Vault Tour, Sydney, over at the HFFS podcast, decided it was... We can't let friends don't let friends not go to Vault Tours. And Sheep was on a cruise, probably having the time of his life.
No.
Oh,
Way to be positive.
did you
But-
have
I mean,
to
it
do
was
some drinking
good.
at least?
But it was definitely not the time. No, I did not.
Oh,
Oh.
that sounds rough. No.
We drank heavily, but we'll get into that. So we Sydney decided to buy a cardboard cutout of Dr. Sheep. And he went everywhere with us that weekend. He also folds into thirds, so it makes for easy traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, the quality on this cardboard cutout, life-size cardboard cutout,
Yes.
was pretty impressive.
I don't think it's like the cardboard cutout Sheep was shorter than me, and I think me and Sheep are about the same height.
5'10".
Yeah.
You're
same.
5'10". Yeah, I would say the cardboard cutout was about, 5'6", maybe?
Yeah, it was probably about 3 inches shorter.
Yeah. So, but I got some sweet pictures with cardboard cutout Sheep, as did a whole bunch of folks.
Lots of people got pictures with cardboard cutout
There was
Sheep.
There was a photo booth. It was amazing.
Yes, there was a whole thing. I'll be posting those over on our Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat.
The real
OnlyFans.
material beyond OnlyFans.
Yeah, the real material.
There you go.
paid
Oh, there's
material will
some-
be on OnlyFans.
There's some good ones for that. Yeah.
There's some spicy ones. But so I tried to register Dr. Sheep into the sealed tournament. I was told that was no. Even though we did have his QR code and a key available to register
Yeah,
Dr. Sheep.
I was
in the
ready to
tournament.
play.
He was ready. So I thought what I could do is just FaceTime Sheep and he could play just on the boat.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
See, that would have been one that we could have just had one of the judges just play his card, hold the cards up to the camera, he just played them for him.
Vault Tour on a boat.
That's right. Would have been great.
Once again, Josh's rules make it so I can have no fun.
That's right.
Oh,
No fun.
You have to actually be there to play. What a
believe
ridiculous
this
rule.
What would have really been terrible is if he would have
Oh.
opened up 3 just absolute barn burners and went deep. Like, it would be terrible.
Yeah.
But we started out Friday. We got in And we started out with Sealed. How did everybody's Sealed experience go?
They
Sheep?
didn't let me play.
So
Oh,
so I have to say, before we started, right? So we get there, and I'm saying hey to folks, and I'm looking around, and I'm just looking at the number of folks there, and I was like, oh, there's like not that many people here.
No.
And I was at that point a little worried about, hey, how is this experience going to go for the weekend? Like, we knew there was going to be, it wasn't going to be the biggest vault tour just because of the location, but there was less people than definitely we were hoping. And like, even a few of us are like, oh man, there's like not that many people here.
yeah.
But spoiler, like it was actually awesome.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that.
We actually got to.
I think
play in-
Draz. Hold on one sec, Wookie.
Yeah.
I think with that, for anyone who had come out to KFC or KFC 2 or even the Minnesota Vault Tour last year, those all took place in the larger room that was adjacent to us. We were actually in the smaller room, and I thought that they did a really nice job at making it feel like you had enough space, but it wasn't too much space. So I actually thought that choice to move into the smaller room, they then had the streaming folks over in the larger room so that they could commentate, but it worked out really, really well. So congratulations on making that choice, Josh, and it did pay out.
So we got to play all 3 events due to a little bit smaller of a size. We were very similar to Seattle's numbers, so we did get to play Archon, Alliance, and Sealed. We started with Sealed. Oh, what a relief it was! Now this isn't your grandpa sheep Sealed. This was unified Sealed. All right.
Yeah. And I will say for our numbers, for anyone who was there, I did go ahead and do some actual reporting. So Sealed, we ended up with 32 on Friday night. And then Saturday, we did Archon and then Alliance back to back, and we had 36 since I'm talking about it, and Alliance was 29. So those were the numbers that we had for the Vault, but still a great group of people to play with.
Yeah, had a ton of fun. I ended up going 2-2. Drazcor, how did you fare?
Oh, I sucked at Sealed. I went 0-2.
That's why I went to you next.
Like,
I thought that's
So-
the event you were coming for.
yes, and I tell you, sheep, like we sit down and I open my 3 decks and I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh no, like
Game over.
like so it wasn't that they were
no
the
Royce,
worst
huh?
decks ever, but like there's just like nothing to lean into, and I was looking, I was like, is there ways to combine these? And I was like, there's not even 3 pods that like I can't even get to 3 pods. So I'm just like, normally when you're doing, I'm like, well, this one has this advantage, this has that advantage. So like, which should I do? Whatever. I just opened like crap. And so like seeing the small room, seeing the small tendons, not good decks, I'm like, oh boy, okay. But then we started playing, and Sealed is just such a joy, even though I didn't have high hopes. I played, I did okay in the games, right? Didn't win, 0-2 scrub, right? But like had great times chatting with folks and just like enjoying the experience, going over and like telling cardboard cutout sheep that I sucked on game 1, but if you were in my corner, maybe I'd do better in game 2 with a better matchup, right? And then taking a picture and then going back.
He was mobile. You could have moved him.
It's true. I didn't at that time. Don't worry, later I did. But like those 2 games were just fun, and like people were having a good time, right? And the second match was against another person who lost the first game, and they weren't particularly excited about their decks either, but we were just chatting and playing and like having fun, and like the enjoyment level, like I don't know what, like the enjoyment level was just rising even though I was sucking, and it was great.
It's because the pressure is off, right? There's not as much pressure.
A little bit.
Like once you're you're able to kind of relax, we're like, oh, okay. Not that anybody expected anything from a former sealed Vault Tour winner. No expectations, no pressure.
Yeah. No, it's like if I had just one deck from from either my store champs or from the one that I went to at Baltimore, or like I would have much better chance. But no, I really didn't open anything for better or worse, which can happen in sealed, right? And if you're a fan of sealed, you just accept that sometimes you're going to get something where you're like, I don't really have any counters. I don't really have any stuff to really do that much with.
You got no spice.
No, but DT or not DT. GR
DT has no spice.
Well, that's true. But GR is just a fun set. So like, it was still fun to play, and
completely fair and balanced and fun.
Well, so without Ecto Charge being super powered, I didn't feel like, if you opened Ecto Charge, you just had an immediate advantage, right? And the other crazy combos in set are far less likely in a sealed environment, though still possible.
Not true.
They're 100% definitely less likely than getting just a single Ecto Charge. But right, a common and a uncommon cross house is less likely than just a common.
Isn't key abduction uncommon?
That's right.
Yeah. So
so you need Winds of Death, key abduction, cross house.
Yeah.
So that's less than Ecto Charge. Anywho,
but Winds of Death doesn't help Ecto Charge. Anyway, keep going.
Sure. So but no, I played my games out and had a good time, and went from there. Other people did far better, right? I think Ewok, Wookie, you guys did far better than me, right?
Well, I went 2-2. I did open a little bit of spice. I did have a Geistoid pod that did have Winds of Death.
Nice.
And I did have a Brobnar pod that did have Might Makes Right, that was able to pull off the Might Makes Right with just the Brobnar creatures that were in there.
Nice.
And a way to cycle it on and do it all over again. I presented the loop to Nova game 1, and after that, she's like, yeah, you got it. And
nice.
That was it for me. However, I faced Nova round 1. I take down Nova. I faced JR round 2.
Nice.
Take down JR. I still think he could have won that game had he played his Pester Grove.
It is definitely the line.
And then I proceeded to brick the next 2 games. Both games went up against what are we? Windka? I'm not calling Windka. Brick nasty.
Oh, vodka?
I am not calling it vodka. That is the dumbest name ever. I hate it.
Well, I don't know. It's getting traction.
Vodka. It's gonna drive me nuts.
Well, you got to come up with a better one then.
Yeah, Windka. It was just fine. There was nothing wrong with it. And then it's like, we're gonna call it Wadka. And then we'll just call it vodka. We don't need to screw up my favorite alcohol. But some of us did do the whole top 8ing thing, JR.
Yeah, so Sealed actually opened up pretty well for me. 3 of my decks all had Brobnar. I did have a little bit of thought on which line to take, and that was, do I actually play a straight Archon deck, or do I play a Alliance deck for the Sealed Alliance? I ended up actually rolling with an Archon deck. It was too close on the call. The third house was going to be Brobnar, and the Brobnar that came in my Sealed deck actually had a better line, in my opinion, and there wasn't anything that was really offered by a better choice. Now, part of this was that the other 2 decks, compared to the one that I ended up using, just really were ho-hum decks. They were pretty average, pretty poor, to be honest, and nothing was really spicy. I did have Geistoid in there, but honestly, this Geistoid was not worth the play. And so I know everyone keeps talking about Geistoid, and it is extremely powerful. but know your outs and play to what is going to help you to be most successful for sealed. And so with that, I played my Archon deck, and my line was actually a double till the earth with some haunting witches and specifically Pester Grove. I actually had 17 printed amber, which is always a great line to be able to take for sealed. But the key really was the Pester Grove for my individual deck. And I ended up going ahead and going out in the top 4. And that was the second time where it came out very, very late or didn't come out at all. In that top 4 match, it didn't come out at all. And Wookie, I faced Cat Morrow in game 1. I won that 3-1. I faced you in game 2, and it did come out. It came out very, very late in our match. I struggled with this play. I actually was 2 cards away from being haunted, and I had double haunting witches in the deck for the Untamed. So it did like to be able to burst. I know the importance of playing Pester Grove, but I actually made a choice to discard Pester Grove to get me to 10 for the Haunting Witch. And that's where Wookie and I had both like, I really hemmed and hawed about this because Pester Grove just shuts down so many other decks in sealed. Geistoid that wants to reap, nope, Pester Grove says you're not reaping because you're coming in enraged. And so that was really the call and kind of the play that I had looked at. I did make the choice not to play it in the game, instead to take a creature. In retrospect, that creature only gave me an extra amber because there was an amber on Pester Grove itself. So I was generating 2 off of the versus the 1. But Pester Grove just shut down, and Wookie basically went to town after that. It was kind of back and forth, but it allowed him to be able to reap. So I took the loss.
I didn't reap, sir.
I
actioned.
So action. Go
my
ahead.
deck, I had one I should have just played the Archon deck. Now looking back into SAS on it, but Wookie being Wookie, it was too tempting to take that key cheap and just take the Equidon out and jamming Brobner, because I basically more or less just took out one house for another. I had double Memrox the Reds with 2 Rebels, with double in here somewhere and triple scoop ups and double Memets.
Oh, triple scoop up. Nice with that. Yeah.
Yeah. The Memrox is what's really dangerous because there's very little interaction for it. With Winds of Death, GG.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Well played.
And I didn't even win to death. I think I scooped. I think I in here somewhere and was just able to Memrox, Ironix Rebel, and just get like 18 Ember or something like that. I think I had 6 cards in archive at the time and just basically grabbed 18 Ember. So
there you go. That's 3 keys right there.
Right. But had he played Pester Grove, that makes those Memrox plays not so playable.
Right.
Yeah, well, so at that point, please know that Memrox had been played. It had been killed and wiped, but you still had the Winds of Death, which I probably should have guessed that you had. And so the chance for the Winds of Death to bring it back and then put a few more items in archives. I made the choice to honestly push for key 3. I was up 2 keys, and I made the choice to push versus to play the Pester Grove. And I quickly learned that was not it. That Wookie it was not in a closing space, but I really needed a little bit more time. And so I took the loss. Round 3, I ended up facing Moyes from Minnesota, and I won 3 keys to 1. Pester Grove turned up immediately in that one, round 1. And honestly, anytime that Pester Grove showed up early, it was real advantage for me. Round 4, I faced Medaps, and again went 3 keys to 1. And so I lucked out, made top 8 for sealed. So congratulations.
Congrats.
I mean, well, not necessarily for me, but for everyone who was there. So Sunday, we had MDG, Longing Eureka, SE Steel, Vargas, myself, Hurricane Relic, and then Fire Spray at 1. So a lot of great players. It was really neat to be able to see, and it was a great way to start off on that Friday.
Yeah. So I bricked my next 2 and finished just a little bit outside. You'll notice a trend for me this whole weekend. That pretty much wraps up day 1. Notable things is that you are not allowed. Well, I don't know if you're not allowed but we were not given the option to, like, here are my decks. These are the ones I would like to play with. Now, something tells me it has something to do with the Archon's Corner resealing glue that sales spiked
Yes.
for.
They really
So,
did.
You were, upon getting your goodie bag, which had a pin. What did our goodie bags have? They had a pin in it. It was the bag you got at KFC.
Yep.
It had a pin, and there was something else in there, too, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had the 3 Grim
The
Reminders
Vault
decks, but
Master.
then it had a
Oh,
Vault
yeah.
Master 24 in
Yes. Yes.
it.
A vault sadness, unless you got quad routine jobs.
I haven't
Right.
I haven't even opened most of mine yet.
Yep.
There's still I opened one, and it had an Ortanu in it. I was gonna use it for Shredder later on in the weekend, and then I went, nope, it's got an Ortanu. I gotta give it to Sheep.
So speaking of the Vault Master 24s, so right, I didn't do that great in sealed, and looking like I said, looking at my decks, I was like, uh-oh. So then I was like, all right, well, Josh says there's the Second Ember's revamped, so I'm gonna try it. And I said, well, I'm definitely not playing any of the stuff that I got from for the main event. So I'm just gonna open my Vault Master 24 and I'm gonna play that. Whatever it is. And the deck was a lot of fun. It did well with it. Was able to just win all the matches that I played then, and it was a Fagin Urchin deck.
Ooh.
With a Ronnie, a hit and run, a
Right.
Bad Penny with a capture on it, which was kind of fun. And then triple Memo Leech. So I was just feeling like crazy.
So you had a Dexter. That's pretty much what a Ronnie
Kind
with a
of.
capture pip on it, isn't it?
Kind of, but it was going to my hand.
Yeah.
So, and then the Vindas, A Vinda and J Vinda. So I would just kill the Bad Penny, bring in my hand, capture, kill the Bad Penny, bring in my hand, discard their card, play the Bad Penny, capture, steal one, play it, capture, right? So it was kind of fun, right? It was a thing, right? That's like, it's sealed. You got to look for like the silly things that won't really work on Archon, but you make happen in sealed, right? So I saw this deck and I was like, ooh, I could do like silly things with this deck.
Shenanigans.
Yeah. And so and it was run differently than last year, the second Amber, right? So it was like you did have to go over and say, hey, I want to enter, and you got like a ticket for entering, so for a prize or whatever. So encourage you to enter a little bit. But then it was in lockstep with the main tournament, which I thought was good, and it was like paired just like the main tournament. So it was in play style and in theory in play style. So I just had a
play style
internal server error.
Yeah, play style
the
was
entire
broken
weekend.
all weekend for like 90% of the field. I did not have this issue, but almost everyone else did.
Yeah, some people had it working. I did not. I never once got past the go to app screen, but whatever. That wasn't important. I just went and bothered Josh or somebody to tell me where to go. And the second number, people were having fun. We were just, commiserating about getting knocked out, but honestly, like, so last season when people got knocked out and they felt like they missed the opportunity for like a big prize, especially if they were knocked out when they thought they were close, like people were like down a little bit. I didn't really feel like people were down in second Ember. People were like, oh, we're playing this now, we're having a good time. Like it was a good vibe over there.
Is that because we found out the boxes were Vault Master 24?
Well, maybe that's
we're like, we ain't playing for nothing now, so it don't matter.
I mean, people don't really know. I mean, I guess we're figuring out how good that set is. The thought is it's not good. And people were a little bit like, I wish it was GR, because GR is fire right now, right?
Fire.
But people were just having a good time. I was having a great time. Like it was just fun.
It was the group of the group of people. I will say, shout out, Josh. You want to make sure that we get some sheets up or a large screen that could be turned on, so we know where to
so
be
we
going.
can watch WrestleMania.
Well, you
So
say
you can
that
see the internal
but-
server error that Playstyle shouldn't out.
No, but you're going to have to make sure that can be kind of fixed. I think that it was handled appropriately and that we could go ahead and actually find where our seats were. But as we ended up going ahead and playing 3 events, there are a couple things that could have been sped up. The server error was not a great site for, hey, we're at home, here's our first vault. It kind of was a black eye, but I think we handled it well and that people just came up, we found our spots and we moved on. But I would definitely recommend having printout sheets as a backup, something to be able to look at.
That didn't hamper me at all. Maybe it's because I'm not used to play style as much as you guys were from last year. That could be. I didn't go to nearly as many vaults, so you guys were much more used to it than I was.
Yeah. And I will say, I actually really liked last year's vaults where you had the QR code and it was easy enough for people to scan. It was kind of assumed. I know we have a lot of individuals who have been in the community. And so 99% of us knew what was happening. But there was a section where I think it was actually Saturday that 2 individuals are like, it was announced that spots were seated and you should go to play style. And they're like, whoa, wait, what? Where? What do I have to do?
Huh?
Yeah. And so I just quickly caught them up onto it. The app was easy enough to be able to get into, and they were fine the rest of the time. But just making sure that QR code is out, giving an option where, if we had the screen, it would have been really nice to be able to see, hey, you're scrolling down on these spots. But
and we could have watched
technology's off. Technology's off. We made it work. It was fine.
And we could have watched WrestleMania.
Yes, sir.
Have it on the background. You could have put cardboard sheep facing the TV to watch it.
That's right. And then Sheep could never say he's never watched wrestling.
That's right. That's how that works. Yes.
That's exactly how that works.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So end of day 1, we go into day 2. Day 2 starts.
Well, there was a... Do we talk about the evening?
That wasn't on day 1.
I mean, I did stuff on day 1.
Oh, that's right. You had a Drazcor experience and nearly died for the 14th time.
Well, that's fine. It was fine.
It's just becoming a trend at this point.
We were like, I'm going to this bar called Elusive. So, of course, all sorts of Keyforge jokes, right? You got to go in pairs so you can deal damage, or maybe you need to deal some assault damage, whatever. So we go to this bar, Elusive, it's called. And, like, we end up down this alley. And, like, we're not even sure it's the right spot. So we, like, don't even make the turn the first time. We have to, like, circle all the way around. And then there's like this loading dock with these big dumpsters. And there's this door with this little sign with the bar name on top of it. And so we like pile out of the car. We're like, sweet dumpsters. So we take some pictures with the dumpsters. And then we like climb up the loading dock. And we go through this door. And it's just like really dark. And there's all this like heavy machinery around. And so I tell it was myself, Philly No One, Nova, and Sydney. And so I'm telling them like, hey guys, like welcome to my murder hallway. But we go down this hallway, which for some reason smells amazing, by the way. And
all the murder. Duh.
Yes.
Didn't
it
you know
smells like delicious murder.
Doesn't murder smell
well, you got to
delicious?
cover the murder with all these delicious herbal scents, right?
Yes.
So we go down the hallway and get to this cool little bar with all these like, comfy chairs and couches, and just have an awesome time. And because we're old people, for whatever reason, we get in really deep talking about the tax code.
Oh,
I don't know why. I don't know how we got there.
Because it's April 11th. Taxes are doing like 4
What's
days.
coming
bro.
up, right? Somebody's like, oh, well, I bought this EV, electronic vehicle, and then I realized like my income is like just over the limit by $1,000, and now I can't get the tax credit. And I was like, well, did you consider contributing money to your traditional IRA to lower your income? And then like it went on from there, and then we're like, wow, we're old people.
You too can have fun by joining us at your next vault tour
At
and
the
talk about
Drascore
taxes.
experience.
Join the next Drascore experience. What will we talk about next time? Roth IRAs?
Yeah, totally. Well, this case, because we talked about traditional. Next time we'll talk about Roths.
Yeah.
We can discuss 401ks and maybe we'll do some recharacterization talks. It'll be great.
Sunday, if we find a bar in New York named Skirmish, I'm just quitting life. Like, I'm just walking away.
All right, I'm gonna look this up now.
Yeah, it's 17 hours away. So they almost died. I went back to the hotel because I'm like, you know what? I'm going in that hot tub. I brought my swim. I think I was the only one out of anybody in the whole entire Keyforge community that weekend who brought their swim trunks, and I was going to go in that hot tub. So I went, I got in my trunks, I went down to the hot tub, and there was probably about 24 people in the hot tub, and it was kind of getting hot and steamy, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this is a place I don't belong. So I went back to the hotel room and went to bed.
No.
That was my my Friday night. Womp womp.
Well, you needed to sleep up and get ready for Archon.
You know what? It's a good thing I did because day 2, boy howdy, was that draining. So day 2, we're going to be playing both Archon and Alliance, getting to the top 8
back to back.
And can I say, I missed out on Seattle, but I actually really appreciate this. I know I'm there for Keyforge. I want to play as much Keyforge as I can, and I got a ton of Keyforge that day. So
I feel like really I got all of my. I feel like I maximized my Keyforge time this weekend.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we start out with Archon. Drascore, did you play Archon, or did you skip out on Archon?
I did.
Or was it Alliance you skipped out on?
Oh no, of course I played Archon. No, I ended up not playing Alliance, but we'll get to that. There was good reasons, maybe. I don't know. I had a ton of fun, but we'll get to that.
Maybe. So we all have our decks. I'm rocking Fraud, Ewok. I forget the name you're rocking.
I was rocking Stoke Waste, the Swindler Zoomaster. Stoke Waste.
Drascore, what were you rocking?
Carries Seamless of the Infinite Plant.
Never heard of her. Anyway.
It's a deck I own, just now our team is disbanded. I was like, well, I'll play my own deck.
so we'll just get my night out of the way. I O2'd. I bricked. I went to the bottom of the lake like a man with cement shoes on. It was a terrible... It wasn't a terrible experience. It was... So round 1, I go up against... Oh, man, I forget who I'm going up against, but it's the Scholar Spam deck that took 2nd place in Worlds. That's my round 1. Mm-hmm. And so Sybil, thank you, Sunday. And so starts my my thought that GG just really has it out for me when they pair me. So that and that was on stream. I don't remember much of that game because Sybil is just like all gas. I had a really nicely timed IG, but then hit a poorly timed I can't even remember it. The one that makes your keys cost +1. Or your opponent's keys cost +1. So I didn't get a number. Just
Grabber Jammer?
Grabber Jammer, thank you. It was just not... It was an experience. It was fine. And I'm like, well, at least I'm going to the loser's bracket, right? I can always work my way back up there. I just had a bad game. Until I come up against basically the same deck, except it's Grim Reminders. And I don't know, man. I think Winka might be better than... I don't even know what to call it. Battlefleet Key Abduction. I don't know.
It's good.
It's super good. I mean, it basically came down to who was going to hit the combo first. And it wasn't me. It was 2 keys to 3. I didn't hit it. So,
yep.
I got to put Fraud back in my backpack and hang around with it the rest of the day. As I looked in the corner and see sheep smiling at me menacingly.
Yeah, that's me. That's what I did.
Yep. Cardboard sheep just looking up.
I was actually very disappointed.
I was going to say, I looked over and it was just, there was a point, Cardboard sheep was big and smiley, but I looked over and he just had those big disappointing eyes. right?
Yeah.
That just told it was those dad eyes. That was just like, I gave it all to you and you threw it away. So
Yep. So one thing that was interesting. So Andrew, One Star Peeps, he was trying to figure out what all the decks in Archon were. Now he posted over in the ABR channel what he was able to figure out. And it's definitely not all of them. So these numbers are not exactly correct. And if you add this up, it gets to 21, 2, 3, 4, 24 of 36. Right. So it's missing a third. So this is definitely not correct, but it's directionally correct when he says 16 GR, 5 WoW, 1 MM, 1 Worlds Collide, 1 Coda.
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, just basically everyone was bringing GR. I guess except for us fools. I brought a WoW deck.
Well, I got to do
Wookie brought a Co.
I got a lot of
Coda.
I got to do a lot of the streaming with Josh, which was a pleasure to stream with Josh. And yeah, I saw a lot of GR.
Yep,
a lot of GR.
Well, let's establish the new meta is GR,
It's
and
just
so that was
GR.
but that was the right call. I mean, I'll tell you, I had been playing around with Melendrak, which I took third to Worlds, and it got absolutely smoked in the store championships, and I had to look at other options, and that's just the difference. WoW was very, very dominant all of last year. It came quickly out of kind of nowhere, and GR just says, Psh, what you got? Let's go ahead and bump it up another tenfold. And then that was there. I mean, we end up seeing 7 out of the top 8 decks being GR, and
then there's Nova.
And then there's Nova on Jacques, which is a phenomenon.
Oh, never mind. I'm not going to make that joke.
Yeah, it's just there. GR was very present, and it was definitely something. I ended up going ahead and seeing 2 WoW decks right away. And I'm going to tell you, I ended up, spoiler, I ended up making top 8 for Archon. Round 1, man, I jumped out to a monster lead. I was playing your buddy Draz, JJ from Philly. Awesome guys. So I loved hanging out with
That's
Philly
his
guys.
new name, by the way. Your buddy, JJ.
Well, it's JJ.
Philly. Your buddy Draz, JJ from Philly. That's his full name now.
Yeah. Well,
JJ. Yeah, I mean, he goes by JJ.
He goes by JJ.
That's his Discord handle as well, JJ. So,
but
or claims, sometimes claims, but JJ often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But he was playing well. I jump out to an early lead with Stoke Waste, and I'm up 3 keys. I'm up 2 keys, and just trying to close out. And wow, did that game literally turn on a dime? And I end up winning by 1 amber. So I was so far ahead. So WoW does have outs against GR. JJ's deck was really, really interesting. It had Talent Scout, it had Lateral Shift, 1 of each, and he ended up playing 3 Talent Scouts and 2 Lateral Shifts in the time that we went through the game. So it's real good to play good cards from your opponent. But it ended up being that I just raised it enough that he could only capture down to take me off. Just again, if there was 1, he actually had enough amber there that I would not have been able to keep him off. And I talked to him about it. So well played, JJ. Round 2, I ended up facing Gorlami, who was from Team Reapouts, and he was on Janos, which is a well-known WoW deck. Very, very good deck. And my GR just smashed it 3-1. Like that's just like, you see these WoW decks that are well known that can do quite a bit, and GR, it didn't really blink.
Is anybody else just enjoying JR's humble brag, like just soaking it?
Yeah,
just me.
It's not. It's not. But like what? So you have to realize that I saw Melendrak get absolutely smashed too, and Melendrak was very comparable to what Janos is. Like these are well known, good, solid decks, and GR. Pretty much, you can open GR right now, and it can be competitive. I will say that this discussion, though, of where GR is placing has pushed some people to really start to think critically about what its weaknesses are. And so I do anticipate going into Archon, you're going to see a high amount of GR, but I think there's going to be more counter decks that are going to show up in the future vaults, which is going to be very interesting.
Maybe
Bundy showed up with a deck that is designed to counter and got taken care of. Like,
yes,
yeah, that doesn't work in that big of a competition because it only takes a couple of rounds, a bad game, and then a round against a deck that you're not countered, and it doesn't work. Like, counter decks are never the right choice.
I hear you. I'm just saying there are a number of cards that play better against what GR is doing.
Unless there's a card that says exile your opponent's graveyard. I'm sorry.
Well, again,
well, there might
wins the
skies. Who knows?
Yeah. We'll have to see. I will say, when we had started, we had announced on Friday that we were going to do back-to-back with Archon and then Alliance. So by the time people got in, by the time we got situated, we played 2 rounds and then we took a lunch break. That I appreciated. It ended up being an hour and 12 minutes for me. I appreciated that, but it probably, that's one of those things that if you're going to be playing back-to-back, we probably need to shorten this, or we need to like eliminate that into a much shorter period. They had issues in that food was no longer being served.
Available at the
yeah.
No, really?
That's fine. We got good food.
Not at all.
No, yeah, the kitchen.
You got drinks. That's it.
They like everybody else can't keep anybody employed.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're kind of looking at. So I get it, but having the longer lunch break after
we had lots of breaks. I don't know if we needed all those breaks. Like,
correct.
We between every round, I feel like we had a pee break, a smoke break. I was the only smoker, by the way. A pee break, a smoke break. Man, if you needed to find a hooker, you could do that in the time that was allotted. Like,
you're joking here, Wookie, but this is not what happened, man.
No, I mean, we don't know everybody.
Cardboard Sheep was ready to go.
Cardboard Sheep was like, hey, hookers and blow. Like, let's do this.
No, Cardboard Sheep got it done.
I will say, Sheep, the one thing that has to be kept in mind is when we're talking GR, it is not just a single line that our GR decks are taking. So there are multiple different archetypes that I can see coming from GR. And so that is why you can't just counter one. So but I'll throw that out.
Yeah, 3 of the top 8 Archons, or 3 of the 7 if you just want to think of the GR. But let's say 3 of the 8 were Winds of Death, Key Abduction. The others had other things going on. So that, I mean, I actually thought it was going to be more of the top 8 than was going to have that combo, but
was gonna. I was gonna be like, 3. How many more do you want? How many more GR do you want? What, the one spot it didn't have? Like, I thought you were gonna say GR, not Winka.
No, just the Winds of Death, Key Abduction.
Yeah, but
yeah. So I did face it. So overall, I was actually pretty happy with how I played, even though I did fine. My one loss on stream was kind of a heartbreaker because I was in relatively good position, and my opponent plays Recklessness, and I've got both both Rant and Rive and Mix in my hand. I'm like, they just have to not hit both of them. And of course they did. And I knew he still had Recklessness at the bottom of his deck. So I was expecting him to go Brobnar call, and I was like, I'm probably fine. But that was tough. So I lost that game. And then the next game I got paired up against Varghest, and with the top SAS deck in the world. And it was actually a good game. I felt good about what I was doing. I was like, I'm doing the right things. I had my huge Mars board going, and he had nothing on board, and I still played the Kaboom to archive all my Mars dudes and get more Brobnar stuff into my discard, so he can't play Winds of Death without giving me an advantage. So like, I was trying to make it happen, but then he clobbered me at the end once he was able to gain the advantage and key abduct. So
fun fact, top SAS deck in the world got beat by an 85.
There you go. It can happen.
Well, I actually took him out in the top 4, and mine was, I mean, it was still showing up as a 91, which isn't bad, but there are definitely ways to take out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did get smashed in round 3 after the lunch break. I came back. We played a squash from Team Reapout. So shout out to Nick. And really cool. I mean, it was a Memorex key abduction, Winds of Death, but there was nothing I could do, boys and girls. Like it was after that Winds of Death, it is simply key abduction target in order to archive the key abduction, and you can do it again. And if you don't have archive, hate, good luck being able to try and fight that battle. It's you better be able to forge before it. So that was my first loss. I was a little bit bummed, but round 4 I played Moody 9 with B Reader, the shuttle pilot of plausibility. So another Wisconsinite, Nick from Menominee, and just that was a 99 SAS deck. Brobner, Equidon, Geistoid doing its sweet Geistoid item. So double in here somewheres. I actually really liked there was quite a bit of power coming from the Brobnar with double Cacophis Riots. You had double Fiery Jark. So a lot of consistency. And then Equidon just being a pain to be able to get around. And then I had to fight against our own Sydney Steele. So Wookie, when you and I faced for Sealed, I said, hey, if you beat me, you don't have a ride home. And then you beat me. So I had to put the same fear with Sydney. I mean, everyone was going home. We were fine. But Sydney was on a phenomenal deck. And there was a little more frustration. I love you, Sydney. But I had offered that she, because I was using her deck for Stoke Waste. So I had offered for her to use Melondrak. And she turned around and basically it wasn't her play style. And so she didn't play it. So we are now in round 5 for this play-in match. And I actually thought her deck matched up really, really well against me. I was very concerned. I ended up beating her 3 keys to 1. She did get a key abduction off for one of the keys. So it felt a little bad beating her with her own deck. And that actually kept her from being a 3-peat all the way up because she went ahead and made top 8 for the other 2 events for Alliance and for Sealed. So shout out to Sydney.
What you're
well played.
saying is you're a jerk.
Yep, that's what I'm going with. But
pretends to be a nice guy. He's not.
Yep, but he's not. That's right.
So I ended up going ahead and making top 8 there. Shout out the top 8 for Archon then was Splendives, Nova, Vargas, June, LCU Squash, Long Eureka, myself, and Captain Crispy. So that was pretty crazy. We did not play this top 8 on Saturday. That actually came Sunday then.
Yep.
Right,
All the top 8s were Sunday.
Well, no, because the top 8 for Alliance.
We started Sealed.
Oh, I guess we did, yeah.
Yeah. Because I
all right, should we talk Alliance?
Let's move into Alliance. So I am playing Scholar Spam. Drazcore is not playing at all.
Yeah, I decided I was gonna go stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a blast. So they
I haven't streamed in so long, and I had tons of fun with Josh streaming. So
yeah,
it was nice to get back in a saddle.
Yeah, it was like rotational streaming where you could stream with the GG guys. I actually ended up streaming with Tobin from the Warcaster Forge podcast. And I would not have wanted to give up all of my Keyforge to stream the whole thing, but I had a ton of fun streaming the Alliance matches and, running over, taking pictures of people's decks real quick, coming back, talking about them, and just having a good time.
And Jer has a deck too. I don't know what Jer's deck was though. Oh, you were playing Coda Rush, right?
Yeah. So for me, I actually didn't have my Alliance deck, and I know you had talked with Sydney when we were at our store championships. Hey, can I borrow one? And so Wednesday night, while I was finishing packing, I'm like, Sydney, do you have a deck pulled for me? Can I borrow one just in case we end up going back to back versus going ahead and running them concurrently, side by side? And I'm like, we didn't. And then she messages me back a little bit later. She's like, actually, Chris has one that we had let someone else use. So let's go ahead and let's try it. I'm like, sure. A deck is better than no deck. Otherwise, I was going to try and put something together really quick. and it was Coda Rush. I mean, it was basically Screaming Cave, triple Control the Weak. And then on the other side for Untamed is triple Dust Pixie. And we're looking at double Mother, some double phase shift, Ladwork, and IG for logos. And that was the idea behind my deck. Actually, as I'm looking at this show notes for what was listed for my Alliance deck, I shaved out or changed out the Untamed. So Sydney's original deck, I figure I didn't have to think a ton for Coda, and that was basically what was there. I figured I get a couple games in, I was thinking that the Alliance would be pretty busted, but Coda Rush is still Coda Rush. So Draz, as I was there, I looked through, okay, who's going to be with us? I looked at my own decks, because what was originally missing from this deck and what I subbed out was the Untamed. It did not have a key cheat. And so I think that Alliance, you just needed the key cheat. So I quickly looked, and I had a triple Dust Pixie, but mine had a key charge. Okay. And I look through, and I'm like, well, Wookiee's here, Draz is here. And I look, in Drazcore, you had one of your decks that had the Dust Pixies, triple Dust Pixie, and it had Chota. It also had 2 Hunting Witches. And so it actually didn't have as many printed amber as the Deval, which is listed here for my Alliance. But I opted to go with yours because I figured the Hunting Witches they were acted as a threat that were must kill. And Chota would be able to be cycled back because there was a Lost in the Woods. You also, if I was expecting to see Grim Reminders, and so if people are going to Winds of Death, they're going to essentially put Chota back, that it becomes a win con for me to bust out with the Pixies and then to Chota. So that was my thought process behind it. And yeah, I ended up facing Dave Cordero in round 1, and he is going with Rusting Guntus and Triple Morpheus Lockout. And I'd basically first run it on Friday night a couple times, and I realized that my Coda Rush was hitting about turn 5 or 6. That's as many turns as I needed in order to be able to win. And I'm just going to try and push for my win con as quickly as possible. And that's what I did against Dave. I busted out. Now, I know his line. He knows my line. His turn 2, he ends up going ahead and dropping like 6 or more Logos creatures. There's so much draw that is out there, and he is just trying to dig. Now, his turn 1, he did drop Rusting Guntus. So honestly, he called Untamed. I didn't have a single Untamed card. And so I hadn't seen Rusting Guntus in a while, and I honestly went ahead and said, well, I have no Untamed cards. I concede, I lose because I'm locked out. And he's like, no, that's not how it works. And, reading cards is an important part. So even the best of us, we get messed up when we're
you had it backwards.
I had it 100% backwards. But this is important.
That's like a Wookiee move. Come on.
It is, but pitcher, we had already played through all of the rounds. I think there were 5 rounds that I just finished playing for Archon, and we played right after. So I went from that top, from the play-in round to all of a sudden now I'm playing Alliance. And so my head's pretty frazzled. But I got in there, and Dave was a really good sport. He's like, no, that's not how it works. We pulled back the cards, we played it out, and it's just coming down to, can I push? So I get keys 1 and keys 2. My Screaming Cave is live, and I get 4 Control the Weeks in a row. That was pretty much it.
Nice.
But here's what's killer. We know that as soon as I don't hit my Control the Week, he has the lockout. Like, he only has 4 cards left. That realistically, it's there. But he has to exhume because he had played his Rusting Guntus. I put out some creatures. He actually ended up choosing it's the old card that you kill the 3 largest creatures.
3 fates.
3 fates.
3 fates, thanks. But he played his 3 fates to kill my 2 creatures and to kill Rusting Guntus, knowing he'd come back to it quicker. So I'm just pushing that I have to be able to control him and finish the game before that exhume comes out. I end up getting to 9 amber on the 3rd key, And the turn that I am locked out, I draw 3 Dust Pixies. And so I don't have the key cheat, but I bump from 3 to 9. Dave has Amber Control to bump up to 9. But if I did not reap with the last creature, he has the lockout. He actually plays it. I'm technically locked out, but I don't have to call a house. I'm able to forge my key. And so I end up winning. But it was literally that close that he had the lockout. So, and he ends up making it top 8 with that deck. Game 2, I don't really remember who I played. I apologize, but I ended up losing that game. So 1 key to 3, and I just did not have anything. Round 3, I actually faced Moyes, who was playing a vault.
Weird how he doesn't remember his losses.
I honestly didn't write it down. I'm going just back through the notes, but Moyes was on a Vaultmaster 24 alliance. So it was a really cool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And we actually talked to him about it. He's like, yeah, I want to be that little stat when they put out for what sets are kind of included in the alliance. But this Vaultmaster 24 really played early. It actually jumped out faster than my Coda Rush, and he was winning. I end up choting for keys 1 and 2 with being able to return it for Lost in the Woods. And I did finally get into the Screaming Cave Control the Weak cycle. That's what finished it. But it was a really cool match. And honestly, it came down. So after those, after going 2-1, it put me in top 8. So shout out. We had Self, Sunday, SE Steel, Panic, Dave Cordero, Vargas, and Captain Crispy. And then we actually played our top 8 match right away. So I went ahead and played against Captain Crispy right away. And he was on GR. And man, his GR, that Logos, turn 2 just, it was huge. Mars, turn 2, Mars just went off for Doctors, the Rebel. Like, he went ahead and generated Amber. I couldn't do much about it. He key abducted in order to send those back and cycle it, and then was able to go ahead and have another burst. As it turns out, bursting with Mars from GR is real good. So he did awesome. Captain Crispy Logan actually ended up, if I'm correct, for the Alliance. He made it all the way to the final game against. Hello there. Is that one against Vargas? Yes, because Vargas ended up taking both Alliance and then the Sealed. So,
which is crazy.
Huge weekend.
Vargas.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that I'd played well in making all 3 top 8s. There were a number of people who had made 2. Vargas made all 3, and then he took 2 of them actually home. So phenomenal job for him, man, this weekend.
Yeah, weird story. I didn't play any games. I just went 3-2 in Alliance. Ewok just wants to skip over my games.
Well, no, I just finised where I was, so you got this. Go for it, man.
Yeah. You did well, right, Wookie?
No, I did. I did okay. It was a bummer I went out the way I did because game 1, I actually dropped game 1. To a weird, was it Nurborn Flame Wreath?
Yeah.
Oh, that deck. Yeah. We got to talk about that deck. Yeah.
So like, totally not expecting it, totally not seeing it. But it's the guy Nearborg Flame Ring. If you have 2 of them, he makes an endless loop where you're able to make token creatures out of your basically what's ever left of your deck. And he was playing Emberlings. he got the loop turn 2. So basically, I played my card and he had the loop.
Is 3 Emberlings on board?
Yeah. Well, no, the rest of his deck becomes Emberlings. He just discards them, and at the beginning of his next turn, whatever's left becomes Emberlings.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's kind of wild.
Yeah. So basically, I'm on a 3-turn clock. To either kill a bunch of Emberlings, which I can do. The deck does have a crushing charge, so I can kill all the Emberlings. So instead of giving up, I was like, well, I'm gonna play it out. See what maybe I find it. Who knows? Weird things happen. This deck draws a lot of cards. Never found it, which is whatever. But either way, I still forged 2 keys in those 3 turns. So
That is
That
some
was a bummer.
janky fun. I mean, I wouldn't expect that deck to actually win,
Well,
right? It needs
the
its
weird
combo.
thing is
and
like it has a
yeah.
Quixel Stone in it too. I think it's
Oh yeah, to block. Yeah.
so that it can basically stall for time.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which a Quixel Stone would have shut me down. Because I mean, well, it kind of does. If I can't play my cards to get tokens, I'm kind of in trouble, right? So
Oh, Sunday says 2 Quixels in Star Alliance. So
I thought it had
ways
2
to get-
Quixel Stone, yeah.
Yeah.
So I dropped that
Yeah.
game. I go up round 2 against Magic Duck. That game I take pretty handily. The scholar spammed, and it did what it's supposed to do. I can't remember my game 3. Was my game 3 the game that was on? No. So I had one against Magic Duck, and then I went, MedApps. Game 3, I go up against MedApps, who's also playing Scholar Spam, but my Scholars were just a little spammier.
Mhm.
And then round 4, I'm on stream.
Yeah, you had the play-in.
Against,
Yeah.
nope, I'm not the
I was-
play-in.
Oh, is that 5 then?
Round 4 is me versus Sith. And you can go watch that on
Yeah.
GG's stream.
Yeah,
Which
you had the Fathy Alliance, right?
Yeah.
You used the
basically
Woe
it's an upgraded Sybil.
Sandhopper.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
The
upgraded
Sandhopper
or not
craziness.
Sybil, upgraded
Fathy.
yeah.
Or Faith, or however you say it.
Faith,
Yeah.
there it is. That's the one I'm looking for. It's an upgraded Faith. I do end up taking that one down, I thought, pretty handily, actually. I was quite surprised at how quickly that turned.
Oh yeah, you had the gas, and he could not get his Sandhoppers down. So
right. Well, and
he
I
was toast.
had found
Yeah.
what I needed, basically. I'd found the crushing charge to clear the board. And fun story, shells have 4 armor, but only 1 power, so those go bye-bye. And then I got to go up against Philly in the play-in. And exactly what I said on stream was like, if I can find my way into one of those play-in games, it will happen. Thanks, GG. Yeah, so I go up against Philly, and my Scholars neither scholared nor spammed. I didn't look down at my shirt enough times to draw better. And it just, like, I bricked. I got, basically I found 1 Scholar the entire game. All the other 3 are in the bottom of the deck. I need creatures to do Abyssal Sights. Like, I can't do any of the tricks that I have in my hand because a lot of them need creatures. I'm just trying to get to him before he gets to his Genka, and he just got there faster. So,
Yep.
It was a total bummer. You talk about going from a huge high thinking you're in to a huge low knowing you're out. So, that was it. That was it for day... Well, no. We go into the play-in round, which Ewok already talked about.
Yeah. Well, so you know how I
And
said my
then-
round 2, Wookie? I
Yeah.
actually look back. See, this is why I take notes. Round 2 is where I had my God draw. It was absolutely amazing. I actually faced Fire Spray 0-1, and I felt bad about this. My opening hand, I went first. I had Screaming Cave. I had Pit Demon, Guardian Demon, Lash of Broken Dreams. I had 1 Control of the Week. There was 1 other card and Bobble. And that was just not fair because I laid down Screaming Cave and then I played Control the Week the next 4 rounds in a row. And he had 1 creature. It was Woe and it was House Aquadon. And he reaped the first time. And then I just stole this with it, Controlled the Week. And he's like, I'm not going to reap so that you can just steal it. So he's like, just go ahead and play until you go ahead and don't get Control of the Week. And with the 3 of them, I cycled. And by the time that I didn't draw Control of the Week, I was at 2 keys and some amber. And so that game finished really quick. We finished in under 10 minutes. And so that is actually why we played a second game. And in that second game, that completely swapped. I actually got destroyed in that game. My Control of the Weeks came out a little bit later, not too much, but he got rid of the Screaming Cave, and that was the difference. But I lost 1 key to 3. So I ended up winning against Cordero in game 1, Fire Spray in game 2 I won, and then Moise in game 3. And so that's what actually ended up jumping me or propelling me into that top 8 right away. Sorry about messing that up.
Yeah. So they did right that first round of the top 8 right there, right?
Yes.
Now what was interesting is like, so it was a pretty long day at this point, and like I think at that point, like you could have maybe heard some grumbling, hey, it's going long, whatever. But like, I don't know, people are just in such a good mood. I remember being like a little worried, like, ooh, like there is like the party thing, which we'll talk about in a moment. And are people gonna be like energized enough like after this to do the party that was what that Sydney and others some of the folks here had organized? But we did the round, we did the top 8 round, and then the judges did look a little tired. I think I thought everybody had a ton of fun. I think maybe for the staff, I don't know if they could reasonably do back to back again. Like I think the participants loved it. But we, gotta be good to the staff. So we'll see if they're able to do that again.
Yeah, if I'm correct, the time that was listed, there was 10 and 11 hours respectively for the 2 different days of playing Keyforge. That's a lot of Keyforge.
Well, hold on, we can find out. Because that stream was going from the very beginning till the end of it.
Yeah. While you're searching for that, that's what I had seen is 10 and 11 or 11 and 12. Realize that when we ran Keyforge Live, like the judges and the event staff have to be there before and typically after. And so that adds extra time too. It's just a very, very long session. So shout out to Marcus, shout out to G, shout out to the GG staff. I felt that you guys did an amazing job to, make it a lot of fun and make it so that it didn't seem like it was an absolute grind. And while I went out in the top 8 for Alliance there, I was still really proud to be able to make it. And while it was a very long day, the Control of the Week streaming cave just didn't come out in that top 8 match. And that happens. I had very good luck until that point. You cannot complain at all about the random luck I had, especially after what happened with Fire Spray. Like my luck was very high. So it ebbs and flows. You play with what cards are there. I honestly had no idea what Coda Rush would do. I'm proud to be able to represent Coda Rush in Alliance, and I actually felt the meta for Alliance. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Alliance, but actually felt the meta was a lot healthier than what I was seeing for Archon. I will say that.
It was
7 out of 8 for GR for Archon, and Alliance, it was quite a swath. We had Coda that was there. You had AOA that was represented. You had Worlds Collide that was represented. I believe I even heard that there was DT that was in the field that was there. You had GR, you had WoW, you had MM. So it just, there was quite
Vault Master 24.
Vault Master 24.
But not 23.
Yes.
I don't think there was a 23. I don't think there was.
That's because there's only one good house in that set.
And it's low.
Yeah, yep, that's true. That's true. The
look real quick, looking at the stream times. Day 1 ran 6 hours and 56 minutes. Day 2 ran just shy of 11 hours.
Yeah.
Day 3 just a little over 9 hours.
Okay.
So you are looking at what, 25 plus hours of Keyforge?
A good ass time. That's what we were looking at. And so, the weird thing about the whole weekend, like, there's so many reasons why, like, it shouldn't have worked. There's so many reasons why we should be complaining, but like, it was just awesome. I don't know. It was a ton of fun.
And not like, and don't forget about we also had to collect Poke Badges.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Challenge. Well, you guys did. I thought that was really cool, but there was not enough time. Even here, I just played straight. So
not for you. But so they did have like a little thing. The 2 judges, plus Jeremy. I'm saying plus Jeremy, but like
Jeremy, Josh, and Luke all had it.
Jeremy, Josh, and Luke all had like a little token You went and got your little crack bag from Josh, and then you put your little tokens in it. That's what it was, dude. Like, let's just call a spade at this point.
They're probably Jeremy's, right?
Never mind. So many comments to go through, but we don't got that kind of time. So yeah, you got your little crack bag, and then you collected your Poke badges from each gym leader.
Yeah.
5 of them.
Yep.
Actually,
Yeah.
and then you got a ticket. That was we'll talk about the tickets at the end because the tickets were fun. So day 2 has now concluded, and we are giving away the prize for Second Ember,
Oh, yes.
which turns out Drazcor can't. He's not a winner, but he's the winner of the. He's the biggest loser.
There you go. There you go.
Woohoo!
My
Congrats,
prize had a big number 2 on the side just to cement the choke show, I guess. I don't know. So yes, I won, I guess, the most Second Ember games across Sealed and Archon or whatever.
Alliance.
Or did I play in Alliance? I don't even think I played in Alliance, but
No,
I won a whole bunch of Second Ember games in the other 2. So I got what did I get?
So
I
you
got
were the Second Ember winner, but not only were you the Second Ember winner, you were the weekend Key Warrior.
Yes, this is true, because then you just add up all the things. And so I got the weekend Vault Warrior, whatever it is, deck box, like a Roseville 24 deck. Like, it was cool. It was cool.
Hey,
so
you, Draz, were the first person to get the Roseville special stamped Master 24 deck. That was pretty cool. That's actually why most people saw it online. It was because of you and getting
pictures.
it early.
Yeah, throwing it out there. And then it was pretty cool.
So that concludes day 2 of the Roseville Vault Tour, but we're not done.
No.
We are going to go party like it's 1999.
Hell yeah.
Back at the hotel room, Miss Sydney had provided a whole bunch of beverages and snacks to keep the party rolling.
Yeah.
And we had the Keyforge After Dark after party.
Uh-huh. Yep. So the room was packed. I mean, we had over 20 folks. Like, we had more than half the field there.
A lot going on. We had a couple tables.
Yeah.
So the Keyforge fun, ladies and gentlemen, didn't stop there, because we also had Sealed Worlds Collide.
Uh-huh.
So we had found at the liquor store a box of mystery booze. So basically, it was a 24-pack of something. You didn't know what it was because it was a brown box. And if you took something from the box, you had to take a deck of Worlds Collide and play, which was fine. I played against Nova, and I think Magic Duck, had some fun. Yeah, that's what and then we just all drank till like 4 o'clock
people were
in the
playing
morning.
with
Skulls was happening.
Potato chips as their ember, or Cheez-Its as their ember.
We were using Cheez-Its because they were more tonally correct.
Yeah. Yeah, this Cheeto will be my damage tokens.
We were using pretzel nuggets, the peanut butter filled pretzels as our damage.
It was good times.
Yeah, see, while you guys were doing that, there was a photo booth in the background.
Yep.
We had some Malort that was there, so that was my first chance to enjoy Malort.
Oh, sorry.
Everyone really made it out to be a lot worse. In my opinion, that wasn't even in the top 5 worst things that I've ever gone ahead and had as a beverage. So it was not that bad. But Judge Marcus then went ahead and brought out Skull, and we had 7 people playing Skull. So that was the first time I got a chance to learn, and it was a lot of fun. So just being able to hang out, talk with people. There was some talk of Keyforge, but just talking about life and things that happen. I felt that the party actually brought people together and just allowed us to be able to relax a bit after a very, very long day. But everyone was in great spirits. So it was really neat experience.
I do
It
have to
was
say that the
awesome.
highlight was the Keyforge After Dark After Party. Like
Yeah.
it was fun, and again, like Ewok said, talking to people that there was some Keyforge talk, but just talks in general, right? Like just having discussions about not Keyforge and this, that, and everything else. I had a talk. I think was it Drazcore? Were you there? We had to talk about G's pencil because
Yeah.
I have terrible useless knowledge, and like I saw his G's pencil and I'm like, that's an expensive pencil. I know why I know this.
And he's like, well, yes, it is.
Right.
And we got all nerded out on pencils.
Yeah, and we're talking about and then we're looking them up on eBay to see how much G's pencils are going for, and not like, and then G busts out like this like really cool like German pencil sharpener.
Oh yeah, that was
remember
cool.
that?
Yeah.
And like, replace the blade and all that stuff. So it's just the weird conversations you have because Liquid Courage was kicking in.
Oh yeah,
was a lot of fun. So big.
I definitely had a great time. I mixed up a cocktail.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it was a stiff one. Now the cocktail's actually called Intro Bang, but so I renamed it to the Unnerfed Ecto Charge. And we had the little tiny red solo cups, the very small ones, because this is basically all liquor. And
basically, it is all. It was straight.
It is
booze.
all liquor.
You could have ran a car on this shit. Like,
yeah, it was. Yeah, the drink was basically 80 proof until you mix some ice in. So yes, it was strong, but delicious. And I definitely recommend checking out this cocktail if you haven't had it. Everybody was just having a great time. It was awesome. And then like we were going, people are getting all excited with yelling and running around, and I think Sydney and I molested cardboard sheep, and then like
you should say, Draz, where we were was actually kind of our breakfast area. It was a little nook, so we weren't interrupting anyone else who was trying to get to sleep, and some of us did duck out a little bit early because we had matches that we needed to play the next day.
And by some of us, he means him.
Yeah, that was That was the quietest 4 hours of sleep that I got all weekend, and I was very appreciative of that.
Me and Drazcore shut it down, bro.
Oh yeah,
4 in the morning.
Yeah, we were like, maybe we should get to bed. And those Wookie and I Josh was still there. Josh, don't you have to like work?
I don't know who you had that conversation with, because at one point I had noticed Ewok was gone.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna lie to
I was
nobody.
Getting sleep.
I put my swim trunks on because I'm like, if this party blows, I'm out of here. I'm going to the hot tub. And it didn't. So I stayed. But at some point, like, I noticed Ewok was gone, and I didn't have my wallet on me, which is where the card is for the room. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. So I'm like scanning the room for Drazcore. I can't find Drazcore. And I think he came back from the bath.
Laying down on some chairs for some reason.
I'm like, oh, there's Drazcore. I'm like, you can't leave without me. And he's like, why? I'm like, I don't have my card on me.
And then I try to leave.
Yeah, and then it was like 4:10. Drazcore's packing up and he's going upstairs, and I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to the room. And I was like, remember that conversation we had like 3 hours ago about how I have to go with you? He's like, oh, nope. He's like, oh yeah, let's go. So it was a good time, but got it all cleaned up. Made sure that the hotel staff didn't have to take too much care of us, and got it underway. So the best part about the Keyforge After Dark After Party was the morning after and watching all the hungover people stroll into breakfast.
Oh yeah.
How were you feeling Sunday morning?
I was actually feeling okay.
You looked rough.
I mean, I was tired because I hadn't slept much, but I was feeling okay. And I was like, I got to get over. And, they did that Menagerie Unchained event. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the Menagerie Unchained situation.
Now I'm gonna say, Drez, we're gonna have to have a little chat. You guys actually were pretty quiet coming in. I mean, I had seen Sheep last season when I was out with him, and he was not quiet. They basically bombed or jumped on my bed. But you guys did a great job. However, we teased Wookiee about being Snorzor over here, and at one point, I clearly woke up when you guys came in at 4. But you were snoring louder than Wookiee, man.
Oh, no way.
I almost recorded it. I'm not even joking. I didn't think it was possible. I had earbuds that were 30 decibel limiting. Like, you guys were straight through this. And then all of a sudden, like an hour later, you're sitting up like it's ancient England, like you're a king or a queen, like sitting upright in bed, and then you were quiet. And guess who then started to snore like I've never heard snore? That was our swimming trunk partner over here of Wookiee. And I'm like, well, I got at least 4 hours of sleep. So I'm gonna hear this beautiful symphony of sounds from you two. But it made me laugh because you actually you outsnored Wookiee. That's
sure
impressive.
wasn't a proximity thing. Like we were snuggling.
It was not proximity.
You snore pretty loud.
That you were pretty
Nice.
loud, and you were in a great spot. So let's say that.
And what?
I was feeling good.
The thing was is that Drazcor scared the shit out of me because we had to take cardboard sheep back to the hotel room, but I had to run down and get some more stuff because we forgot the cart. So Drazcor set up the cardboard sheep. So you could make out it's a person, and all you can see is his eyes. So I opened the door and went, "Oh fuck!" I'm like, "Who is that?" And then because it takes your head a minute to go, "Oh, that's just cardboard sheep." But at the time, I'm like, "Oh shit, who's this?" Like, so good on that one. But then we go into the final day. And I believe we start, if I'm not mistaken, with our sealed competitors, correct?
Or no, did they finish Alliance first?
We played round
they did
1 of
sealed last.
Did they do sealed?
Sealed was last.
Sealed was last.
Archon was in the middle, and it was Alliance. So they started with Alliance because I actually came in and did a little bit of recording with Gorlami, and we talked about the top 4 match that was there. So yes, that we definitely did Alliance. I will say the morning after, I had no problem. It was beautiful. I was just enjoying my breakfast and went down and enjoyed some amazing Keyforge. And I will say that was the Sunday of Vargas. Let's position as the whole weekend of Vargas, because Vargas did amazing, but Alliance was the first win. So
Vargas takes down Alliance. Then we move into Archon, which is a rematch from last year's Roseville Vault Tour.
Yeah, shout out to June. I know, June, you had wanted this. It was funny. You actually came up and had talked like, it's going to be you and I again. And I did not think that Stoke Waste was going to be able to make it all the way there. But Stoke Waste did. I ended up facing Nova in the top 8. And then I faced Vargas in the top 4. So Vargas, even in the match where he didn't go to the finals, he made it to the top 4. But I did beat Vargas there. And then I went and faced June. And June, I did see that deck list is absolutely amazing. For Bendola.
Amazing. The deck list is bananas.
It is bananas.
It
There's no question on an Archon.
Once the Untamed hits, it makes like 30 Ember in that turn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my line was, I am going to push as fast as I can because my Mars can spit out Amber. And I got to 2 keys. And Winds of Death had been played. And I will say, in retrospect, the play needed to be to pull all of my creatures at that point in whatever house I had the most of, play them all out. And because I did not do that, June beautifully, beautifully locked out the game by dropping down Bryo, 2 taunts, Kaup, and a few more creatures to go along with it. And it was a super long turn. I apologize for that. But I was trying to see any of my outs. I came up with what my one out I felt was, and it was a very low, very, very low, like 1% chance. And that was basically meaning that nothing else was going to be added or very little. And I took that line and I watched her play her beautiful, beautiful Untamed turn. In order to have the line, I needed to return Witch Queen, and that was a lot of rule of sixes. So we watched it. I know that I'm well known for enjoying my Keyforge, but after the first round of watching Witch Queen go off, I tried the last ditch effort that I could. It was already done at that point, and she went again, and I asked to actually concede. So there you go, sheep. I conceded a game so that I could hopefully go into game 2, but beautifully, beautifully locked out. And then game 2, which came out very, very, very early. I had not even gotten going yet, and that game was over. And so just like last year, I had a great run. Unlike last year, I do not have an invite to Worlds. So I basically will have to look at our last chance qualifier, because second, third, or fourth, question mark, because I was in the top 4, and top 8 does not get me to Worlds. So it was a great weekend. I had an absolute blast, but I am pretty much on the same spots. And congratulations to everyone who made it. So hopefully I'll be able to be there for the last chance qualifier and hopefully be in for Worlds. We'll see.
And then our last and finally we go into Sealed, which Vargast won as well. Was that a wig caduck or no? I don't know. I didn't. I
did not see
I don't think so, but I'm not 100%. I don't think it was. But it was a great final match between Vargas and my local buddy Mammon DG. And I was actually at the airport watching the stream as both Jeremy and Gorlami were streaming it, and just the rotating stream was awesome. By the way, like GG should definitely do that again. Everybody loved it. People loved watching it. People loved doing it. It was great.
It was also nice to be able to know where the stream was, like knowing it's on GG's site. Like, even if GG, I think, even if they find someone who will do it all for them, like 100% have them stream it to your site, so we know it's on your channel. Like, and it's your game, so there's no reason it shouldn't be, right? So I think it just really streamlined the process of where is it? Oh, it's on GG, because that just totally makes sense that it would be on your site, being your event. So
I will say a big shout out, because I did lose in the top 4 to Mammon DG. It was great to be able to see and to be able to play. My deck, again, it was a little difficult not having played that deck for 48 hours with how much Keyforge was in between. But Pestergrove just didn't come up, and Jacob played it really, really well, and I couldn't have lost to a better guy. So to see him in the finals, I wish him the best. Bummer that he didn't take it down, but still a really, really neat set of individuals who made all of these top 8s. So well played, Jacob.
Yeah, great games, good stuff.
So overall experience for the Vault Tour, tons of fun.
It was great.
To be honest with you, I know a lot of people are coming here to hear us tear into it, but to be honest with you, we all had a great time. A few things tightened up. A few things were a little loose, which we definitely could tighten up. But,
they didn't have the trophies, which was unfortunate.
That's true. The trophies were not there because they did not show up in time. The pallet was.
They were still on the pallet. In Philly.
Pallets in Philly.
Yeah.
So now we got to get it back from Philly. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah. Shipping of, So, but I mean, overall, like the weekend was a good experience. I think we all appreciate them folding in Second Ember, kind of to be coincident with the main event. So like even if you're out, you're still playing, you're still going on the same times, the same rounds. You know, it doesn't feel like you're out. I guess is that the best way to say it? It doesn't feel like you're out. You're still in, but you're not, right?
Right. You're still doing something highly organized as opposed to like random matches, right? So that was cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought just the feeling of camaraderie, like just everybody had a great time and everybody was chatting with everyone. And I think they've got a great foundation to build on. They like, clean up some of these things, figure out. I know GG didn't organize the party, but if you could figure out how to enable that to happen again, like if there's a room in the hotel or like we'll figure. I don't know that GG should throw the party, if that makes any sense. But like,
no, it does.
But,
I don't think GG can throw the party. I think that's got
yeah. But like, how do they make it easy for others to do it? I think
well, Josh did a great job of if you are of age,
yeah.
There are beverages and snacks available.
Yeah.
And kind of we had it to a degree, and we were able to have that really tied it all together for me.
Yeah.
Was that event, being there, being able to just kind of hang out with everybody and talk, really kind of, like I said, just tied it all together for me. Made what was a good weekend a pretty, even though it was like, oh, it lost, it sucks. It made it okay.
Yeah.
It made the losses
and I think because, honestly, because I don't know if you guys feel same or different, because there wasn't money on the line, I think people had a better time in general.
I
think
don't.
So.
I don't agree with that. I think that we have a very tight knit group. There wasn't a lot of, there's a lot of returning veterans there. We were here to play Keyforge. We knew what we were getting into ahead of time. I think that there was, some prizing grumbling. We can definitely not go ahead and
a little bit.
It was because, honestly, I was anticipating the prizes for top 8 being Grim Reminders that would have the little stamp for the location. Yeah. That didn't bother me at all. I think Vault Master is there. It actually was a neat experience. I'm hoping, because I do have a box, I'm actually hoping to be able to trade with others. So if you end up making top 8 at one of the other future vaults, I can't make them, but I would be willing to trade. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to. And I think it fits in with that feeling of camaraderie, just to be able to play Keyforge, to play and have fun. I enjoyed the Challenge the Ghosts. I didn't participate because I didn't have time, but people seem to have fun with that. So having a social experience like the gathering or the party, just being able to play Keyforge and talk about Keyforge, the group has dwindled a litle bit, but it's a really, really good group. So we want to continue to cherish that.
Well, it's, it's like I told Domino yesterday, right? The people who dwindled, yes, they're dwindled, but literally the core is still the same, right?
Yep.
So like you got rid of the riffraff when we cut straight to the chase. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Domino's asking about the party in the chat. This was kind of like, we didn't know whether we were going to do it Friday or Saturday because it really depended on how everything stacked, right? Because like, number one, we didn't know if we're going to be playing all 3. We didn't know where things were going to land. We didn't know where things were going to hit. So that was like almost a last minute decision. But
yeah, and while it went late, we also didn't want people to feel frustrated, like they needed to leave early from a social gathering. He had called about 5 minutes ago.
It's like, I have nothing to add. I'm going to bed.
But basically, if you look at trying to have a social gathering before what's considered a larger portion of the Archon, that was a challenge. So we made there was a call. It wasn't we, but there was a call by the organizers for the gathering to be able to place it Saturday. People then either there's less people potentially that are playing in your top 8s. And so I do think that was the right call. It was really enjoyed by everyone who came. I didn't hear a single negative component about the gathering. I will also say that a highlight for me on the top 8, they did have mats. I would have liked to have seen the mats say Archon, Sealed, and Alliance, just so they're different. It's pretty funny because I have 3 mats. They're identical. But what isn't identical are these sweet pins. And you can't see them holding them up. But they basically took the Vault Tour pins that you had previously seen. And it says Vault Tour. And this one says 24 with the little amber in the middle. But they actually have top 8, top 4, and then you have runner up. So I thought those were really neat, and there's some bling to be able to show off. They're pretty hefty, so that was a really cool component that I'm proud to have, and be able to walk away with.
Real quick, Sunday is saying pricing going down to top 8 instead of top 4 definitely lessen the pressure.
Yeah.
Well,
and it makes you feel better. Okay, like top 8 is a clear cutoff point, and so you accomplish something, you can walk away with something, which is a win-win.
Right. Yeah. Overall, I had a blast. I have nothing bad to say to the Vault Tours. If you want to have a good time playing high-level Keyforge, I 1000% recommend one. I mean, I had so much fun at this one. I'm doing my damnedest to get to another one. I'm eyeballing San Antonio as my next one. Vegas is out for me, and I think Rochester and Baltimore might be too soon. So
I'm gonna be at Rochester. I'm excited. We gotta figure out how to make some sort of party something happen.
Oh, I'm at San Antonio if we're able to. Yeah, we'll have the Keyforge After Dark after party.
Nice.
Part deux. So
I think if you're trying to clean up anything, we do keep challenging the ghosts. I am still a big fan if you can go ahead and run back to back. I know that's really taxing on the event staff, and being in
gotta keep them happy.
Correct, but being in other game stores, like that also is a limiting factor. It means that pitcher, you're going to be an hour for your rounds plus games that go to time and being able to finish that and update. If you could have the QR codes, that would be a huge, huge, huge bit for me, just for anyone new or kind of newer to the scene. But so many positive things to walk away with. I did feel like, honestly, I didn't really miss the trophy that was there for first. I felt that it was a really enjoyable experience with a couple things missing, but top 8 prizing, way to nail that one, and just keep having fun. Like it was a nice balance between competitive and social, in my opinion.
So one thing I will kind of nitpick on, the breaks. There was the break, and I already picked on it. The breaks are sometimes can be very, very long.
Yeah,
keep those
early, especially.
Keep it running, keep it going, keep it moving. Move at a very fast pace. The Poke badges were fun. The little tokens, your little crack tokens to get a ticket. So at the end,
crack tokens, nice.
Yeah, and they did the drawing, and it's my biggest kind of my pet peeve was I did all this work to get these 4 Poke badges, and then we drew 1 ticket. I was kind of like, oh, and that's it. Okay. All right, we're done here, and then moved on.
There was some lucky person.
Revenant deck.
That is cool. Oh, a Revenant, or was it a?
It was one of the guaranteed Revenant decks.
Okay.
But it was we're drawing for the Poke badges. Here's your number, and that was it. It was oh, just the one, huh? Yeah. I'm assuming they could print more. I don't know. But all the stuff. But
I felt bad that the finals, based on timing, sorry, but Vargas and I really did mess that up because we were in multiples. The idea that a number of people were going to be in multiples, but it made it very, very long on Sunday. And so people had to leave for flights and for other items. So I personally feel bad impacting that, but I did miss some of the excitement of just being there watching those final games. And we did it for Alliance, and I was
And it
there
might,
for Archon, but having more individuals there kind of focused on it really does make it a larger spectacle and an enjoyable. So it was a bummer it happened, but
also, like, if these
was
are
it.
able to be stacked the way they were originally meant to be, you're talking, you're ending a lot sooner. We're not really having to worry about flights, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I think they're still going to run into the issue of, like, I almost think, like, Sealed should have been held. Well, was it originally the Sealed top 8 was going to be held on Saturday, right? But then that got pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, the original spot was that we were looking at the time, and we were going to run the top 8 for Sealed right away on Friday, and then that got pushed back to. It ended up getting pushed back. Maybe it was Friday. It went to Saturday.
I think
and
the
it got pushed
original
back to
plan
Sunday.
was
It was Saturday. You're right.
Saturday night, but because we stacked it, we got
it was just too much
done, and it was just it was too much. And honestly, it was drinking time. Let's all be honest with ourselves.
We needed a break. Yes,
we were looking for that sweet, sweet liquid courage nectar.
Mm-hmm.
I also appreciate the transparency for 1-star peeps with the vault tracker. So if you haven't checked that out, go look at some of the decks. But it'll be interesting to see with future vaults what we have for the experience and what decks start to rise up for Archon and for Alliance.
And a lot of fun. And like when you said that, Alliance right now has a much better, like a much more diverse field.
Yes.
100% agree. Like, I had a blast playing Alliance. I know it's not for everyone, but like I was told, it's only Alliance if you build the deck. So just have somebody else build your deck, and now it's just Archon.
Yeah,
you don't know any. Now it's just a busted Archon deck.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the fact that you are able to take advantage of some of the more busted things throughout each set allows it to be more diverse and didn't really feel like anything was more dominant than the other.
Yeah, it did allow you to, I think GR, it's easier to find.
And I think
stuff.
The other thing we learned is maybe we shouldn't be so hard on the restricted list. Like, not like be hard.
I mean, I think that
we don't really need one. Maybe we see what is a true problem before we do this, because, I mean, they took the lockout decks off the list. Well, the lockout deck didn't win, did it? I don't believe it did.
No, I think there were.
It was a double Eden's Jar that Vargas took for Alliance. But I will tell you that there were multiple Rustringuntus Morpheus lockouts.
There's 4 in the field.
One of them made top 8. Like,
one of them. I definitely think. I think 4
that's there.
4 in a field of 29. I mean, don't count out. I mean, it is Dave too. So I mean, Dave is a very good player. So it does take some skill to pilot it. So
yeah, hands down.
It's just one of those things where I don't know. Like, maybe we can ease up on the restricted list a little bit. Just a thought.
Maybe
just a thought.
I know I am not
for another day.
Yeah, an expert there. So yeah.
So, anyway, anything else, guys, before we put a bow on this thing and go to bed?
I think come out to Rochester, keep playing Keyforge. I'll be at Rochester.
Buy more Grim Reminders.
You're gonna have to.
You're gonna need it. Hey, and listen. I pulled a 99 out of my sealed. So
I wish I had. I wish I had done.
You know what? But the more you get, the more you'll have an opportunity. So buy more Grim Reminders.
There you go.
Just saying. Ton of fun. Loved it. Big thanks to GG for having it. Big thanks to everybody who came and played. We do have tons of fun. And that's gonna do it for us this week. We'll see y'all next week.
Happy Forging, everyone.
May the Forge be with you.
From a new perspective, you come along because I love your face, and I'll admire your expensive taste. And who cares, divine intervention? I wanna be praised from a new perspective, but leaving now would be a good idea. So catch me up, I'm getting out of here. It's not fair, just let me perfect it. Don't wanna live a life that is comprehensive, 'cause seeing clear would be a bad idea. Now catch me up, I'm getting out of